Hello, everybody. This is Jay Cruz. If you can hear me and see my screen, if you can just drop a quick one in that chat box. You know the protocol when it comes to live sessions like this. It's always good to make sure that we've got our ducks in a row, everything's working how it should be, so we can deliver this very, very exciting presentation to you here today. And if this is new to you, you don't know what this is about just yet, or you need some more information, then that's what this session is all about. Because we're going to show you how to discover the most powerful organic traffic secret kept hidden for over 15 years, right? That lets you effortlessly drive sales to any offer or any business in any niche, absolutely 100% for free. And you'll see that as we go through. So as we tuck into this real quick, what does this work for? So I want to put this to rest from the get-go, okay? So this works for beginners, affiliate marketers, e-commerce stores, local businesses, software and info products, marketing agencies, consultants, coaches, experts, charities, even media buyers, all right? So this works in absolutely anything you can imagine. And here on the screen are just some of the niches that we've done this in, right? So if you can see this, give me a 2 in the chat, making sure you're keeping interactive. But I'm talking drone flight training, right? Weight loss, coffee brewing, business coaching, holiday rentals, even bedwetting, which I laugh about quite a bit. But, you know, it just goes to show the extent and the power of what we're doing. And it works in practically any niche out there, and many, many more than the ones that I'm just listing on the screen here. So we've also got people like Justin West who have sort of worked with us for quite a while, you know, followed our methods, and we've worked to teach them a lot of stuff. And Justin's actually built $1 million company based on what he says we've offered in the past, which is nice of him to say. But also this is without having to be an influencer, okay? You don't need to be a social media addict, techie, or marketing expert. We wanted to simplify everything down because that's what we think is the most powerful way to get results and scale, right? And this is perfect for beginners, okay? This is why, because even if you're starting to make profits online, or you haven't even started to yet, this is perfect for you, okay? Because we've simplified it. This is also perfect for people with an existing business if you want to add 6 figures, or if you want to turn 6 figures into 7 figures even, all right? And we've got tons and tons of examples on the session here today. So by getting the best traffic from the biggest traffic source online, and we're using a completely new accelerated playbook, which removes 95% of the work, all right? So it's all tapping into the best form of traffic online. And by the way, we've never shared this before, okay? This is a world exclusive that you're on today. So what are we going to share? Well, we're going to go into, without any tricks or loopholes or anything like that, we're going to show the method to grow traffic in practically any niche. You point and you shoot, yeah? If you do the work, of course. It works in any niche. It's impossible to saturate. And because of a brand new breakthrough in technology in 2023, with all the playbooks that we've put together, you can now build what we call cash flow posts based on a method we've refined for over 15 years. We've been at this for a long time. Absolutely 100% beginner friendly. We're also going to share lots and lots of results and how you can get your own high long-term profits in hundreds of niches. And we've got 6- and 7-figure reported results, which I talked about. And I'll be sharing those, okay? And this is all possible due to a 3-step system, which is more powerful now than ever before, okay? And we call it the 3 Ps, and I'll go into that. Very, very simple. Okay, so here's the deal. In our short time together today, I'm going to very simply share with you, okay, nice and easy, our brand new way to tap into the highest quality traffic from the best source of traffic online, bar none. I mean, that would be pretty cool, right? And I'm going to show you why most people don't even know about this. Absolutely for free, so you're not paying for any of this traffic, right? Now, this all actually started in 2007. Normally, I start presentations with myself, but I'm going to introduce Chris first, okay? You'll find out why. This is Chris back in 2007. And yes, he looks a little bit young and dumb, right? His words, not mine. But he was actually 23 in this picture. If you take a look at this cute picture of Chris, right? But this was, I think, a year before he hit 6 figures, right? He grew up in a village in Wales. It wasn't the typical tech hub. But after working super hard, he developed a method to generate traffic. And that method, fast forward to 2023, has been responsible for hundreds of millions of visitors since that time. Isn't that nuts? And we'll go into that in a second. And the best part of this is now this is even better because we've made a breakthrough to make things even simpler. And so results like this that you see on the screen, which is 500,000 in free traffic, it's not bad, right? This was all from 117,000 visitors that we generated in the space of just 12 months with the value of $5 per click. So it's worth $500,000 in free traffic. If we were paying for it, that's how much we'd pay. But the best part is results like this are now easier and the work is cut down even more, which I'll go into. And the best part, you don't even need tons of traffic, right? We've got Adam, who I'll talk about in a second. He only needed 3,000, just under 3,000 visitors. You might be able to make it out on the top there to hit his first 6 figures, right? That's less than 10 visitors per day, because the quality of the traffic is so good that you don't need that many visitors. People are hungry and ready to buy. So why is this so exciting, right? Why have we been shouting from the rooftops? You may have seen a lot of people talking about SimplerTraffic this week. Well, it's because we've been quietly getting huge results, but we couldn't share this until today because it was too difficult, it was too complicated, and it required way, way too much skill, right? It was too hard. And this, by the way, is a 10 to 15-year method that we've simplified, okay? And today I'm only going to share what's worked for us and all the people we've taught this to get more traffic. And these people, have been selling stuff in hundreds of niches. We've now made it even more automated than ever before with new technology combined with proven playbooks. And once set up, this builds traffic. Check this out in the background, right? Needing little input per month compared to other traffic sources. And you'll see that. And consistent work is required. So a quick word of warning though, right? Because it is a little bit boring. It makes tons of money, but it is a little bit boring. So bear with me here. But at the end of the day, I'm sure you'd be happy to let your business be boring. And you'll see we've simplified this down so much that it literally is a repeatable process. And if things work, they tend to be boring, right? Because you just do them over and over again. You don't need to change it so that your life can be exciting. All right. Okay, so real quick, give me a 5 in the chat if you're excited, you're ready to rock with me, because I'm going to show you literally how we've generated millions of visitors, millions in profits, and millions in sales, okay, before this major breakthrough that I'll be sharing with you here today on this call. So give me a quick 5 if you're ready to rock with that. You're in, you're listening, you're attentive, and you're ready to take all this in. Beautiful, lots of 5s coming in. That's the energy we like to see, right? Because you're here for a reason, and we love to share the latest and greatest stuff that we're working on. So, okay, so that means, look, I'm ready to share results from the basic method that we had. And this is before any breakthrough ever happened. Okay. So, and by the way, I mean, I shouldn't have to say this, but of course, it takes a bit of work to make things successful, right? So these guys didn't sit on their butts. They actually did the work. And I'm going to show you results of 6, 7, and even 8 figures. But they followed the training, right? And they removed any unnecessary complications. So it's as simple as that. Obviously, to be successful, you need to do some work, right? That goes without saying. Just like Denka did here. Denka's one of our early students. Before the breakthrough, he went on to really kick ass, and he's become a millionaire since. Some of his sales, for example, here, one of his biggest sales is $150,000, all possible by following this method. That young and dumb Chris in 2007 went on to create. So this is Ed, another millionaire, a student of ours, okay? And he's been getting $137,960 in free traffic every single month, right? Before the breakthrough that I'm about to announce. This is Ed and I at a tech conference in New York City just last year. I managed to catch up with him and meet him in person, which was kind of nice, right? So lots and lots of really cool results before the breakthrough, such as Justin on the screen here, $136,000 in just 1 year. Adam, $107,000 just over in 11 months. Brent, $90,000 in 90 days. Okay, after setting things up, we've got Justin here, $136,000 in 1 year. He was the guy I just showed you. Here's Adam. Here's the pictures of the guys, basically, right? And here's Brent as well. He actually, cool story, in just 90 days, he set this up to hit 40 grand months, right? And this is just following the method before the breakthrough. Here's Laura, $5,000 per month. Amazing story. I'll share that. Cam, $18,000 per year within 60 days. And we've got Josh here, who hit $10,000 per month after a layoff. Greg, $1,000 per month sales. Becky, $700 per month sales that she's stacking up. And Steve, landing $3,000 sales as well. So look, ultimately, it goes without saying, we've helped thousands of people, get traffic and make more profits, and ultimately enjoy more freedom up to this point. And I'm talking people from all different backgrounds, different skill levels, speaking different languages. So it's nice to be able to have had that impact. And literally, we've helped. I'd be here all day going through all of them. But what you're seeing on the screen and what's remarkable and why you should pay close attention here today is because all of these guys, all these results that you're seeing was the method before any breakthrough was possible. So they actually did this the harder way. And they had something missing in that process, which probably would have 5 to 10x their results. And we're sharing that on this call here today. Okay, so let's jump into this. But before I do that, I just want to really quickly get your permission, right? This is your session. I'm here for you, and I want to serve you in the best way possible. So just give me a 1 in the chat if you're happy with me going through the philosophy to begin with. And it's very, very important to set us up so we can understand the playbook a lot better and be more effective at using it, right? Because you probably have goals in your life. It's important to think about why you're here and why you're doing this, so we can supercharge our mindset and maximize what we get out of the playbook. So is that cool? So if I share the philosophy real quick, give me a 1 in the chat if you're happy for me to do that. And then I will happily go into the playbook and the breakthrough and share all that good stuff with you, because I'm sure you're eager to jump into all that stuff, right? So just a quick 1 in the chat if you're happy for me to do that. Yeah, with the philosophy. Beautiful. Lots of ones coming in. Okay, so I'm going to start again with Chris. He's my business partner, bona fide genius. He's never going to say that himself, but I'm happy to say it because he is. And it all starts with him, who started his first business in 2006. We've been on a bit of a mission since then, right? And yes, we've done all this cool stuff. You know, we built an 8-figure company from scratch, doing things the right way, I would say, right? And living a simple life and just providing for our families. He lives in a small island in the Mediterranean now. He's got 3 beautiful children. And so, yeah, you know, we've done some cool stuff and we've built this nice company. And I have a part to play, of course, right? I bumped into Chris in 2013. And I'm, again, partnered up with Chris, doing things the right way, right? The simple way. You know, we provide for our families. That's the most important thing for us. And yes, again, we've joined forces. We've built this 8-figure, beautiful company, but we've done it really by just applying this method, right? This method, I remember when I met Chris in 2013, he challenged me to use the method to go out there and sell to businesses, right? And I did. So I managed to sort of prove myself. But the power of the method was so incredible, even back then in 2013, that I was like, my goodness, I need to know where this guy's going, and I want to partner with him, right? And just to show you the power of this, so since 2007, when I showed you that picture of Chris, he was just publishing, you know how simple this stuff is, right? He was publishing simple content online and quietly generating millions in sales. And the best part is we still use the exact same method today, just with a hell of a lot more automation and resources, because it works so damn well. For example, he was actually in the bag niche all the way back then, and he was selling millions of dollars, right, in the bag niche, which is incredible, on autopilot after a while, and we'll go into that, but we use the same method. So you can jump into any niche, is what I'm saying, and really blow this up, right, in a cool way. So something actually went wrong along the way, because yes, he was, you know, doing well and he generated this huge amounts of traffic, but something got in the way, because this is what he set out to do. Look at the screen real quick for me. He wanted to live the laptop lifestyle, and he thought it would be all gravy, right? As we say in the UK, all fun and games. He'll travel, no one to answer to, this country today, that country tomorrow. And then really, in reality, it was more like this, right? Tired, exhausted, unhappy, not able to be a dad, but not able to run the business properly either, even though the business was growing. And this is actually in Hong Kong in 2014. I think at this point, Chris told me he was on, he had hit his 50th flight in 1 year, right? So he had to ask himself, hold on, there's something wrong here. Because even when people are feeling like this, we're told, hey, you got to work harder, right? You got to push through it. You know, you got to hustle and all that kind of stuff we hear about. And people like Conor McGregor, for instance, talk about this all the time. I had my own story, because after 8 years of nonstop launches, events, travel, networking, video shoots, starting up a new sales team, you know, and partnering up with Chris and really growing the business, I crashed and I literally couldn't feel joy anymore, right? I honestly, it was a horrible time. My hormones were all over the place. My relationship with my girlfriend suffered at the time. We actually separated. It was a tough time. The business was still growing, right? But we had to ask ourselves, Chris and I looked at each other and said, why the hell are we doing this? What are we doing this for, right? And we realized this because of this and what you see on the screen and what we call motivation porn, right? No matter how you feel, you keep working harder, right? It's all about hustle. It's all about getting up and going and working harder than everybody else, right? And all this kind of stuff. And this is what influencers and unhappy entrepreneurs out there tell us to do. So we followed the laws of success and we thought we were doing well. But how is it possible that we weren't feeling very good about it though? Like literally we felt horrible. Give me a 1 if you can relate to this, so this resonates with you at all, right? So we were literally on the verge of needing like cortisol injections. I got my blood tested and the doctor was like, dude, you need to slow down. Your hormones are completely out of whack. And Chris had the same thing, right? But then what do people tell us? They say, hey, you got to keep pushing. But pushing too hard is a real genuine thing. Conor McGregor, for instance, for all the stuff he talks about hustling and pushing, he literally pushed himself to the point of breaking a leg without anyone even hitting him, right? So what I'm trying to say is, yes, hard work is mandatory, but maybe we can avoid breaking a leg in the process, right? And here's another thing that most people won't tell you, and people just do not talk about, right? You just see all the happy, lovely things on Instagram and online about all these entrepreneurs making a shit ton of money. But most successful people you see actually have mental illnesses. They have trauma, and inside they are deeply, deeply unhappy, right? And this is exactly where we got to. And so a lot of entrepreneurs don't talk about this. They're not brave enough. But Tim Ferriss here actually got up and he talked about it. You know, he talked about the dark side of the entrepreneurial hustle mindset. And he talked about how he nearly killed himself, right, in the process. And so, you know, we realized, and Chris and I talked about this and said, hold on. And I was fed up. I was like, listen, man, I didn't start a business to be burnt out, to be plugged into the internet 24/7, right? So we needed to rethink in terms of what we were doing with our philosophy, right? Because it wasn't healthy. Our relationships were being destroyed. We were destroying our own bodies. For what? Because we're not designed to live like this, right? Give me one in the chat if that makes sense to you, because this is the only time in history that it's ever been possible to plug into the internet like this and to do things this way, right? And it's been destroying us, and it destroys a lot of people out there. So we wanted to pose a different question, which was, how can we get amazing results without sacrificing our lives, right? And the truth is, you can have success by choosing to do less, believe it or not, if you do it right. And choosing what you don't work on is just as important as choosing what you do. So you need to focus and simplify on, you know, the big impact things that stack long-term value. And if you do it properly, you're good to go. Because, for example, the real stress test is, can you step away from your business? Do you have a business now that you can step away from? Or is the business you're building something you can remove yourself from completely, right? The fact is, if you build real cash flow assets, which I'll talk about, you have the option to step away from the business, take time off, and it will still continue without you, right? Because it's automated and you've got all these beautiful systems in place. So this is Chris's calendar. He actually took 3 months off as a sabbatical. Imagine, the CEO of the business, right? But the business actually went up compared to 3 months before that. And he was working just a little bit, as you can see on the calendar here. It's an actual screenshot of just checking in with the business 1 hour, I think, every month. Maybe less than that, but just to, you know, make sure things were moving. But I was busy on my honeymoon, right? I took a month off for my wedding. So there you go. You know, nothing went completely to shit. It was still moving along. Why? Because we had built cash flow assets, right? And so this led us, Chris and I, to developing what we call the 3 rules for wealth and freedom. And we've actually spoken on stages all across the world about this. Chris here is speaking in a mastermind in New York City. If you look at the screen on the left, and this is me on the screen on the right, speaking in Austin, Texas, about the 3 rules of wealth and freedom. Same topic, right? And in both cases, in New York, I think they paid about $5,000 to $10,000 to be in the room, and people paid around $5,000 a seat per head at the marketing event I was invited to speak at, right? But the good news is, I'm not going to charge you thousands here today. I'm happy to give you the 3 rules completely for free, because they're that important, right? And number 1 is avoiding competition. I don't know if you recognize the guy on the screen. His name's Peter Thiel. He's one of the founders of PayPal. And he talks about, if you know, as in completely avoiding competition, he thinks it's complete insanity if you don't avoid competition, right? And you might think it's difficult, but it's actually simpler than you might think. Because if you have no competition, then you become a market of one. Then it's easy, right? Imagine picking a niche and boom, no competition. I'll talk more about this later. And then number 2 is stacking cash flow assets. Now, this one is crazy powerful if you understand it. Because this is what the rich do. They leverage, they use leverage, they create leverage, yeah? And they create business cash flow assets that grow over time, and then they just rinse and repeat again. It's quite boring, which leads me into rule number 3 then, right? Which is, you know, we've grown our business to 8 figures without being influencers, right? We hardly post on social media unless it's for work. And we're quietly doing this in the background, right? Because being boring actually works, and it makes more money for us, right? And there's actually a really super cool book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. I highly recommend you pick it up. But he did some deep research into the biggest companies and the best CEOs in the last 50 to 100 years. And guess what he found? That the best CEOs were the most boring. It's proven. So being boring makes more money. And it kind of makes sense, right? If something works and it's effective, then you just keep doing it. So it actually becomes quite boring. But hey, we can let business be boring so that our life can be exciting, right? So these are the 3 rules then. So we've got avoid competition, right? Then you stack your cash flow assets without any competition, and then you be boring because you want to repeat the process over and over again, right? And this is exactly what we've been teaching for a number of years. And so the fact is most people actually flip this on its head, right? And they come at it completely from a different angle. And the fact is most people don't want to be boring, which I can understand, but they end up being super stressed. So if you look at the screen here, give me a 1 in the chat if you have tried to approach your business from this angle, in terms of you're trying to run several businesses, you're posting constantly on social media to get attention, you focus on loopholes and tactics over boring fundamentals because it's sexy and it feels like you make progress faster, right? Make your face the brand, you make lots of new products, keep changing niches. Give me a 1 in the chat if this sort of describes what you might have been doing up until this point. And the fact is most people end up, going into this exact mode because they think it's sexy and flashy, but then you end up super stressed and practically not making any progress, right? And so this leads me to a really, really important question. Which one would you prefer? If you type this in the chat box for me real quick, would you prefer a boring, repeatable activity that predictably grows your wealth over time? Or would you rather start over every few months chasing the next sort of short-term tactic? Give me a 1 for 1 and give me a 2 for 2, right? I mean, I know it's a pretty obvious question, but it's a very important question to ask because here's the deal. Most people are going to be in this category, doing number 2, even though you think, oh, it's obvious to do number 1. But if it was that obvious, most people would do it, but they don't, right? They're still doing number 2. So it's my mission, because our mission is to simplify things down and make them almost boring, okay? But guess what? Boring makes money. And to help as many people as possible to avoid the pitfalls of number 2, because literally you can be stuck in that downward spiral for years and years, right? And so we did this recently, right? So we've asked a few people, we're like, oh, well, look, if we did a dream biz thought experiment, and if I asked you, would you accept a job where you could work from anywhere? It takes 90 days to set up, and then you can work just 1 to 2 hours per month. But in those 90 days, you spend just 1 to 2 hours per day. You can have weekends to yourself. It's extremely stable. A single simple task needs to be performed over and over again. It's kind of boring, kind of fun, and there's no cap on earnings. Give me a 1 in the chat if you would accept that with open arms. Okay, so lots of people putting 1s in the chat box, right? Of course. And the reality is that setting up digital cash flow assets using the SimplerTraffic system are exactly like this. This is what you need to do. This is it. This is all that's involved, right? So if you're prepared to do this, then we're ready to rock and roll, right? But the truth is, and this is quite interesting, is everything I'm about to talk about wouldn't have been possible even just a few months ago, right? Because it was just too damn difficult to teach. So if we break this down a little bit, so I showed you this this one of our cash flow assets on the screen here. I showed you earlier, right? $500,000 in free traffic a year. That's not bad, right? But I like to break down the reality of what it takes to get there, because we're talking about, to get that level of traffic, we're talking about 3 weeks of work, 6 to 8 hours of a day is what we put into this. So you're looking around, 120 hours to set this up in total, plus 10 hours of just doing bits and bobs here or there. But you're talking about generating 350,000 visitors is what we hit. And if you were paying for that traffic, you're looking at $5 per click is what it's worth, right? Obviously, we don't pay that because it's free, but that's worth $1.75 million in free traffic, right? If we were paying for it, that's how much we'd have to pay, but we get it for free, right? But again, that's a little bit of work to set up. Of course, there's still lots of automation and leverage in there, but it still took around 3 weeks of that concerted effort. So, full transparency, completely going to tell you straight up that we don't touch that site at all, right? Completely untouched. And even after 5 years, right, it still drives 23,000 visitors per year. So you can see the traffic dropping off when we started working on it, and we were still working on it, and then we just left it almost to die, right? But guess what? $5 per click is what the value is worth, and it's still driving 23,000 visitors per year, right? And this is what these cash flow assets can do. You with me? If you set this up correctly in the first place. So yes, we could probably do more with this, but we are busy with other projects and stuff like that, right? So even if you stop working on them, the point I'm trying to make is they will typically generate traffic and revenue for 1 to 5 years, maybe even more. And here's another example, super quickly. So I want to make sure you guys can see the screen. Just give me a 2 if you can see the screen. I think a few people were struggling with that. I don't want to take too long. I want to keep flowing with this, right? Because it's really, really good stuff. So just give me a 2 in the chat if you can see the screen. Yep, all changing for you and transitioning smoothly. Okay, beautiful. Lots of 2s. I appreciate that. So this is actually in the wine niche, right? And a more recent project. And you can see that we generated $200,000 worth of free traffic, which if we were paying for it would cost us $10 per click, but we're not, right? Because of our method. But we generated 20,000 visitors to generate that 200K, all right? But it took us 2 weeks to set this up, right? 6 to 8 hours a day and around 100 hours in total to get this moving. So even though this works really damn well, it still took a lot of work to set this up, right? Even though, yeah, there's still leverage in there, and we've got this, automated to a point, but it still took a little work up front, right? But again, not bad, and it's going to be worth it if it's driving that traffic, And in fact, if you look at some of the keywords that we were ranking for here and the value in dollars, I mean, I'm saying $10 per click, but often it would actually be way more than that. We're talking about sometimes in the region of $100 per click. That's how valuable this traffic was, right? And again, just 100 hours to set that up, which is still pretty good going. And so we thought, hold on, this is working too damn well, right? And we went on a mission. So I started a mission back in 2014, Chris and I, to simplify and automate this entire thing. And we thought if we could teach people how to do this and automate the whole thing, my goodness, we're going to be on to a winner, right? And so really, we wanted to get this to a point where the only reason it wouldn't work for someone is literally if they didn't do the work, right? That's where we wanted to get it to, which is a pretty damn good place to get it to. And so did we figure this out after all the hard work we put into it? Honestly, no, we failed miserably, right? And so after 5 years of trying to do this and trying to teach people and put it into systems and processes and everything else, and teach at scale, it was very, very difficult to do. Now, we ended up teaching 80% of it is what we got it to in terms of what we could actually teach. 20% we just couldn't do because it was too difficult. But even with that 80% that we taught to people, people were still getting good results, right? Like Warren, using only, I'd say 80% of what we could teach, $3,000 to $5,000 per month, doing things the hard way, right? We've got people like Julian, $95,000 per month. Again, with a watered down 80% version of what we were doing, right? Obviously, if they could plug the gap of that 20% and do it completely like we would do it, then of course they could 5 to 10x these results too. But 95 grand in a month is not bad, right? Josh, $2,000 per month sales doing things the hard way, right? And then we hit the discovery in 2023, right? We discovered something which had the answer. And finally, it was crazy. What used to take hours by an expert can now be done in just 7 minutes by an idiot. And obviously we're being playful here with the word idiot, right? But the point is it can be done by anybody, right? No matter what your level of expertise. And so that 20%, that, probably the most important and powerful aspect of the method we just couldn't teach to all these guys that were killing it with these results. Now we could do it. We got it down to just 7 minutes, right? And I'll talk about that a little bit later. So how does this thing work? Well, first of all, I just want to be super clear because you're wondering, in all likelihood, right? You're probably thinking, hold on, Jay, well, what are digital cash flow assets? You keep talking about cash flow assets. What the hell is that, right? So give me a 1 in the chat if you're wondering that, super quick. If you're wondering, hey, Jay, and I want to make sure that if there's enough demand, I'm going to go into it. You guys can literally dictate where we go with this session here today. And it makes sense to get involved, right? Because you've decided to spend your time with us, which I really appreciate. So 1 in the chat if you were thinking, hold on, this all sounds great, Jay, but what the hell is a digital cash flow asset? And the answer is on the screen. And there's lots of ones coming in. So that's good, right? I'm talking, these are fast, simple, really, really important to pay attention. They're fast, simple, 97% automated websites that you can set up quickly in any niche to promote any offer and use SimplerTraffic to get high quality visitors to stack profits and gain long-term value. In other words, they're a quick website you can set up in any niche and then you blow it up with SimplerTraffic, right? And our method, which you've already seen the results of. And so your simple site, which takes literally 5 to 10 minutes to set up, right, hooks into the best source of free traffic. So you can drive as much traffic as you need to, right? In terms of, and the more of these cash flow assets you set up, obviously the more traffic you'll get, right? And then you can plug in any offer you like. It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're in the affiliate space, your own business, you're sending leads to a local business. It could be absolutely anything. right? But it's very, very simple to do. And so once set up, I mean, look, this is a simple model. It cannot be saturated. You don't have to sell anything to anybody. And it works for any business in any offer in any niche. And so a quick question for you guys, right? If you had the option to choose between a Facebook post and a blog post to make money, right, for an offer, what would you rather choose? What do you think would make you more money for the long term? Give me a 1 for a Facebook post and give me a 2 if you think it's a blog post. So what will make you money for the longer period, right? Would it be a Facebook post or would it be a blog post? Just give me a quick 1 or 2 in that chat box. Really important to get you guys thinking about this, right? And you'll see why in a second, because the power of this is beautiful, right? Okay, awesome. So we've got mostly 2s, which is brilliant. And it shows that you guys know what you're talking about. And the 1s, I can understand you may not be experienced in this, but I'll explain, right? Because ultimately, if you put a Facebook post out there, I mean, Google penalizes a lot of this stuff anyway, and so does Facebook. So it's difficult because they won't let you promote links and stuff like that. But in simple terms, with Facebook, once you put the post out there, once it fades, in terms of over time, it stops driving you traffic, right? It might drive you traffic there and then, just like a Facebook ad. Once it's out, once it's down, right? Or once it's been up for long enough, then it stops driving you traffic. Whereas a blog post will drive you traffic for the long term. It keeps that traffic coming. And the more of these blogs that you post, right, the more valuable your site gets. How beautiful is that? And these posts, by the way, these cash flow assets are so easy to post. It's almost like you're doing a Facebook post. So if you've ever done a Facebook post, you can do a cash flow asset post. And each post, by the way, you publish becomes a long-term cash flow asset. So it drives you traffic for the long term, but then it becomes, the more traffic you drive, the cash flow asset itself increases in value, right? And you can do this in any niche. Like I said, any niche that you could dream of or think of almost. I'm talking, here's some I didn't mention earlier, but dentistry, of course, lung devices. We're talking luxury recliners. That's an interesting one, right? Marketing services, beard grooming, health coaching. It could be practically anything. And these are just some of the niches that, our students have really kicked ass in, right? And so it really comes back to just the 3 Ps that I talked about, the 3-step process, which is super, super simple, and that you can just focus in, day out, right? You just do 1, 2, 3, and bam. And you do 1, 2, 3, and bam. You just repeat the process, right? And I'll come back to that in just a second. First of all, let's see where you can get the visitors to these posts. So if you get these posts up there, that's fine, right? But who are the people most likely to buy the stuff, right, to help you to make money? Right? So what visitors and where can we get the visitors to see these posts? And even if you're just starting out, by the way, and don't have anything to sell yet, this is crazy powerful. So the question is, let's look at the world leaders for inspiration, right? Because if you want to be the best, you look at what the best are doing, right? There's a thing or two to learn from Amazon, I'm sure, because they're an absolute behemoth, right? So where are they getting their traffic from? Well, they get most of their traffic from their brand, which is direct, makes sense. But their second biggest traffic source, almost 27% of all their traffic comes from this special source, right? What about eBay? Big company, right? 31% of their traffic comes from this source, right? And you'd expect most of their traffic to go through their website because of their brand, right? But 31%, that's massive. What about Walmart? Now, Walmart's interesting. It's almost neck and neck in terms of the existing traffic it will get, but also the traffic from this new traffic source. So what is this traffic source? Can you guess what it is? It's the best source of traffic online. You can see it eclipses everything else for all 3 of these huge companies. But what is it? A few people have already guessed it in the chat box, but yes, it's Google, right? Google gets more traffic than the next 8 sites combined. That's how powerful Google is. And I'm talking, it's targeted, Google traffic is scalable, and it's plentiful. So there's tons and tons of it to get. So why is Google the best traffic source? If you look at the screen, like, it just really goes to, I like presenting information this way because it's clear. Look at this. All the sites you might think that have tons of traffic, right? Google is bigger than all of them combined, right? Mad. But the fact of the matter is, it's huge. So the question becomes, well, how do you get traffic from Google, right? Well, let me explain. So literally, it's a dictionary in the, it's a verb in the dictionary, by the way, other way around. Sorry, I've just got distracted. There's a massive bird flying out of my window on the right. But yeah, so Google is so powerful, it's literally become a verb, right? So here's why. Because Google processes 8.5 billion searches every single day. That's 99,000 searches. Imagine that happen every single second, right? And 99,000 people basically looking for information, and largely, and most of them, because they want to buy something, right? And I hope the light bulb's going off now. That making sense? And the fact is, nobody's talking about this. Now, this is Alex Hormozi. We love this guy, right? Huge respect for him. We've learned so much from him and applied to our business. And he's launched a new book called $100 Million Leads, which is all about driving traffic. And guess what? He does not mention Google. So the question is, why the hell are people not talking about this, right? Isn't that strange? Because Google is the best source of traffic, hands down. There's no, there's no disputing that. It's a fact. Well, we think we found the answer to that. And I'll go into it because obviously Alex is a super smart and successful, hardworking individual, right? Millions of people know him, whereas we keep ourselves a little bit more private, right? However, if we put our traffic generation methods up against his or any other influencer for that matter, we'd stick our chest out and we'd back ourselves. You know why? Look at the screen. This is really important, guys, because Chris, for example, has 0 followers on his social media, right? Alex has 1.9 million followers, yeah, on his Instagram. Check this out. Alex has about 2 million followers, and according to a very popular traffic estimation tool, he gets about 10,000 visitors to his website every single week. Give me a 1 if you're seeing this. Because if you take this in, guys, you'll see the opportunity. It's massive, right? So 10,000 visitors to his website every week. Mr. Beast, you may have heard of him. He's a massive YouTuber, right? I think he's got about 43 million followers, guys, and gets 63,000 visitors to his site every single month. What about Kim Kardashian? Have you heard of Kim Kardashian before? One in the chat, right? Well, she has around 36 million followers. You can see here on the screen. But she only gets around 20,000 visitors to her website each month. So that's just shy, if we stacked all this up, of 100,000 visitors per month from 3 of the biggest influencers in the world. Give me a 5 in the chat if that has sunk in, just real quick, so I can make my point, right? So between the 3 of the biggest influencers in the world, you're looking at 100,000 visitors per month is what they get, right? Well, check this out. With 0 followers, we get over 150,000 visitors per month to just one of our sites, to just one of our cash flow assets, right? Which is more than Alex Hormozi, Kim Kardashian, and Mr. Beast combined. And that traffic comes directly to us, and that traffic is ready to buy, okay? Because it's Google traffic. We own the platform, so we can monetize it however we like, okay? And guess what? You know what the best part is? We never have to appear on camera, right? We don't have to do any of that stuff. And so why the hell is this not talked about more often, right? And I think we figured out why. It's because previously, and a lot of you are already understanding this, it's just too damn difficult, right? It's probably the most difficult source of traffic to get at scale, to be able to teach and grow, or at least the most complicated, right? Because it requires technical talent, lots of creative skills, but we have discovered a way to do this, right? And it all comes down to the simple 3-step process. And here is it's what we call the 3 Ps, right? It's very, very simple. And we love really boiling stuff down to make it as simple as possible, because then you can teach it, right? And so the 3 Ps are as follows. We've got literally, you plan, you post, and then you promote. And that's it. And then you'd rinse and repeat the same thing again, right? So to tap into Google traffic, you plan, you post, and you promote. It couldn't be simpler. And that's why we call it the 3 Ps of free traffic. And finally, there is a bonus P, and that's the P of profit, which is why we're here in the first place, right? So you plan, you post, you promote, and you profit. And then you plan, you post, you promote, and you profit. And you repeat this over and over again. Give me a 3 in the chat if that's simple. I'm going to dig into the hows and everything else, but for now, let's not worry about that. Just let me know that that's simple enough, yeah? You plan, you post, and you promote, and you just repeat that process over and over and over again. Nice and easy. You think you could do that, right? Okay, well, let's go into this, because you're probably wondering, well, what does it involve? Well, I'll tell you. So step 1 is planning. So with the planning, as Benjamin Franklin quite rightly said, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail, right? So you need to know how to plan. And the planning process here is about this is what the whole traffic strategy hinges on, right? And it's all about finding 0 competition, like we talked about before, right? And that was rule number 1. So we choose your niche to begin with. Yeah. You do what we call our rapid art of all research. Again, we walk you through this in the training and everything else. And it's all about uncovering traffic topics that have no competition. Yeah. And what does that mean? Because if you've ever Googled something and not found what you're looking for, this is what we do. We fill those gaps so that you're not fishing in a red ocean full of competition. You're literally fishing. Look at the screen, in a beautiful blue ocean where nobody even, no one knows about other than you, right? So it's literally a market of one. So let me give you an example. So I actually used to own a BMW Z4. It was a convertible. This was a few years back. And the mechanism in the trunk failed. Now give me a 1 if you're looking at the screen. This is a really, really important slide, okay? So if I get this message across, literally everything else will start to fall into place for you, right? And you'll see the power of this. So the boot, the trunk, you call it in the States, right? The mechanism failed, and I was unable to drop the roof, right? It was the height of summer. Imagine the frustration that I had. So every day, the annoyance of not being able to drop the roof was getting to me, right? I mean, so I went online. I didn't want to go through BMW itself because obviously going, to the actual manufacturer is going to charge you a hell of a lot of money, right? So I decided to find this part myself. And when I did the research, guess what? Wide gaping hole on Google. I couldn't find any results. Okay, but I was ready to buy. Literally, if there was a post online about this topic, I would have bought straight away. I'm telling you now because I was that desperate, but I couldn't find anything. So there's no competition for this particular topic, right? So how do you find these topics? Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And imagine being able to find these hidden topics and then automate the writing and the posting so that it's written and it's posted. And then bam, when the next time someone searches for this, because I can't be the only one with a BMW in the world that has this problem, right? And is looking for this part. But the next time, bam, imagine having the only post on a topic no one else has covered, you're going to get a buyer coming through, right? And imagine replicating that over and over again, because 90% of the massive opportunity in your niche is completely hidden. And people don't realize this, right? So give me a 1 in the chat if this is starting to make sense, because you may have looked for something. There's so many things people look for online and they simply cannot find them. And the more specific you get, the more frustrated people tend to get, and it's always something you need then, there and then. So you're ready to buy. If you could only find whatever it might be. For example, it could be a BPA-free baby spoon for children under 3, right, with a dinosaur head, because that's what your kid wants or that's what you're looking for. BPA-free, it's a chemical, and you want to make sure your baby spoon doesn't have that, right? So that's just one example. There's billions of these examples out there, and Google doesn't know what to put on the front page. And so by avoiding what everyone else does, you can find hidden traffic getting topics in practically any niche. You just pick your niche and you're good to go, right? And now the best part is you can actually have our AI method do the research with you. So you're just stacking up these topics. You pick your niche and you stack your topics of what to post about, right? And for example here, I mean, look at the screen. You've got air purifier and dehumidifier combo for the bedroom. I mean, and then you've got for the greenhouse, for the basement, for the garage. And guess what? These are topics that have never, ever been covered before online, and people are looking for and hungry for, but they can't find what they're looking for. Imagine if you're the first person to post about this topic, right? And someone's looking for it, which they are, and bam, 100% success rate when fully implemented. That's the idea, right? And this is the power of it. And remember, Google is a solution provider. So if someone types something into Google and Google has no results, no one is more pissed than Google. Like, Google is desperate for someone to come along and just please write about this topic so that I can put it in front of someone and answer their query, right? So that's what I'm talking about. And right now, for example, if someone typed in air purifier, dehumidifier combo for the greenhouse, that's the problem they have. They won't find anything because it's never been covered before. Huge, gaping wide opportunity. And there's millions of these opportunities out there in lots of different niches. And so, for example, in the health niche, right, or in the cosmetics niche here, we ran the AI, and look at this as an assistant, and we've got 360 different content topics like this that have never been covered before. Think about that. Isn't that insane, right? So you could do this in any niche, and bam, the AI will give you literally a year's worth of things to write about and post about that have never been posted before. And so 1 to 2 hours, you can have hundreds of hidden buyer topics in your niche to use for an entire year, right? And this planning, by the way, is so powerful that people like Laura, for instance, she talks about this, right? She's a beautiful, lovely lady, but she had a bit of an issue. So I'm going to go through her story really, really quickly with you guys. So bear with me. But Laura, she used to run a picture framing business offline. Okay, it was doing well, so she wanted to move it online. But then COVID hit. Boom. And then she was diagnosed with severe sleep apnea. Right. She was recommended the wrong treatment by UCLA. Terrible. But then she used that planning deep dive technique that I just showed you and discovered an alternative treatment and specialist. Right. Because she was desperate for a solution. You see the pattern here? And the treatment worked. And then that specialist was like, holy shit, how did you find me? Right. And Laura explained that all she did was follow the process. She did the boring work and bam. So the specialist said, listen, I want to pay you $5,000 to teach us how to do this every single month or do it for us. And so now she's getting paid $5,000 a month, right? That's just the planning, by the way. Isn't that incredible? And so you can use AI to cover even more hidden traffic opportunities. There's like 80 to 99% of them. So your competitors don't even know about, right? So you can get traffic with minimum effort and just be taking these, pages on Google, which are not covered, are empty, like bang, 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 over and over and over and over again, right? And so once you find the traffic opportunities, right? Is this all making sense to everybody, right? Give me a 5 in the chat. And that's why planning is so damn important, yeah? Because if you know where the opportunities are that no one is even looking at, then it's just a matter of now, and it leads us to step number 2, which is posting, right? Beautiful. So what are we talking about with posting? Well, posting, once you've planned out your topics, is the best part of this. Why? Because you've already planned everything out. And a little known secret is that Google loves boring buyer content, right? Why? Well, I just explained it to you. Because Google doesn't have a solution or an answer to millions of different queries that people have. So if you come along with this boring content, which answers the query and no one's ever covered it before, hey presto, right? And you don't even have to write this yourself, right? So what is boring buyer content? Well, boring buyer content provides information like this in lots of different combinations, right? So it could be different colors. It's like the bag niche that I talked about earlier that Chris covered. The bag could be in black, green, blue. People want baby blue or, pastel green or whatever the hell you might want. There's so many different combinations. You might want different benefits, right? That can hold a phone, that can hold makeup or whatever it might be. You might have some face cream that you don't want to contain a certain chemical because you read about that in an article, right? And again, what does that tell you? It tells you that you're a buyer, different sizes, locations, compatibility. There's just so many different things you could be typing in. And this is what it's about, because here, this is very specific posts. These are posts, by the way, that have been done. Okay, these are all boring posts. And it's the kind of content that nobody really finds interesting unless they're looking for it, right? Unless they're looking for it. And this is why this is crazy powerful, is because these are answering very specific queries that people have, okay, to very specific problems people are typing into Google. And remember, the planning means that you find all the hidden opportunities that people are looking for. Like, for example, in the top right here, garlic for blood sugar, menopause, weight loss, and hormone benefits. People want to read about that, but there's nothing online, before this, right? And so we're just populating all these different boring topics. And boring is good because boring makes money, right? And so then we post these boring buyer content these posts to our sites, and we fill the gaps found by the plan, because the plan gives you all the gaps and tells you where all the opportunities lie. So then Google has no choice but to send us traffic, right? And so why does Google need this? And this gets even more interesting, right? Because Google, again, is a solution provider. And ultimately, these boring posts provide the exact hyper-specific information people are searching for when doing their research just before making a purchase, right? So for example, by providing that information at the exact moment that people are primed and ready to buy, you can make sales effortlessly without having to do any selling. And you don't even need much traffic, because the traffic that comes through is primed and ready to buy, right? Because there's never been anything covered like that online. And there you come with your post, bam, you've got them. And so we want to be tapping into what we call God tier traffic at the top here. And you want as much of this as you possibly can get, right? And that's why it's worth so much money. I mean, talking about $2 per click in value in some cases. You don't want this junk that people talk about. Oh, there's lots and lots of traffic, but no one ever buys because no one is looking for a specific solution, right? And this is what paid traffic and all that kind of stuff does. Okay, so the best part is cash flow posts keep on generating traffic, so they keep on paying, right? Whereas YouTube ads, Facebook ads, Instagram posts, Facebook posts, cold calling, and cold email only pay you once. So I don't know about you, but I'd rather be paid on an ongoing, you know, in terms of well into the future and forever, right? And that's what blog posts do. They give you free traffic that you don't have to pay for forever. But there was just one problem with this, right? And that is writing boring content is powerful, right? It's killer, but it's tough and it takes a long, long time and a lot of expertise to master. I mean, I'm talking there's research, you got to look at the outlines of what you're writing about, right? You got to add images, FAQs, key takeaways, preview. I mean, when we hire writers, we need to test 1,000 people just to get someone who's good enough. So you can imagine how challenging that is, right? But then the catch-22 is it's just too damn powerful not to do, right? It's well worth it though. And here's another one of our side projects, right? Generating almost 2 million visitors per year, all for free with nothing but boring bio content, right? For keywords which, you know, most people wouldn't even look at because they think, who the hell, you know, it doesn't have much search volume, this, that, and the other. Well, guess what? You know, a lot of these keywords, they lie to you, that they don't even work as well. So Chris actually developed his own keyword method, which is built into the 15 years of work that we've done and built into the AI of the planning, right? So you can see it all coming together here. And if you stack all the different things people are looking for, this is how you get the results, right? And you just keep doing boring posts after boring post after boring post. So 2 million visitors don't lie using this method, right? It's a fact. It's incredible. So this was the main thing holding us back, because the fact is we know this works, we know it's powerful, but it's damn difficult to do, right? These posts are difficult to write about. I mean, and that was the main thing holding us back from teaching this until one day, boom, 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 ChatGPT was launched, right? In November 2022. And it marked the explosion of AI as we know, but you'll be happy to know that this is not about ChatGPT. If only it was that simple, because we thought, hey, you know, ChatGPT has come out, it's going to be able to do these boring posts for us and it's going to be incredible and all this kind of stuff. Where in reality, when we did the research, what we found is that what it was producing was not that good, really. And it wasn't what we were looking for, right? And we even started our own AI research group. We conducted hours of research, you know, consulted experts. And you know what we discovered? That might shock you just a little bit, right? It's that AI wasn't helping as many people as we first thought. And then we discovered why, right? Is because, and this is important, when everybody has the same advantage, nobody has an advantage. Because if everybody is doing the same thing over and over again, right, then you have to do more work. You have to do more, not less, to get ahead. You with me? And this is when Chris was desperately, this is really funny, but Chris was desperately trying to upload his consciousness into AI for a long time. This is what he's been doing since November and ChatGPT came out. But there's not just ChatGPT, there's a lot of AI tools out there, right? So he was testing frantically, trying to upload his traffic strategy, his method of 15 years of how to plan, how to post, right? All into this AI. And somehow for it to work. And the fact is, because we realized, right, that AI is like a baby Einstein, right? So he had a lot of these baby Einsteins that he was working on, right? In terms of ChatGPT and these other AI tools that were out there that he was testing with. Because if you think about it, it's got huge potential, but it depends entirely on what you teach him. So Chris was trying to upload his method, his way of doing things, the way he would actually do it, right? Because you can't really teach that stuff. So he started putting it down, writing it down into a system, a process, and then putting it into all these baby Einsteins, right? To try and figure this out. And guess what? It started to work a little bit, right? And early testing really, you know, produced good results. So Kirsty, for example, got her boring posts down to just 23 minutes. So from several hours to just 23 minutes. So we were making progress, right? And people like DK Finn did it just in 5 minutes. I mean, the quality of his work wasn't the greatest, but it was still a massive development, right? But we weren't satisfied. And when Chris and I sat down, he was like, nah, man, I'm not happy with this, right? It's just not doing what I would do. You with me? Because he's an expert. It's like it's not thinking like me. It's not producing the same stuff I would produce. Because he's 15 years of all his knowledge and experience, right? And so people struggled a little bit. And then we met Brandon. Now this guy, I love this guy to bits, right? This is Brandon. He's an AI genius, content marketer. He's also a little bit boring, right? Because he does shit that works over and over again. Out in Miami, Chris, myself, and Brandon sat down. And Chris talked about what he wanted to do. And the funny thing is, Brandon already had a custom tool that he'd built for himself, right? And so when Chris spoke to him about what he was trying to do with all these baby Einsteins and uploading his consciousness, Brandon was like, we could do this. And finally, boom, after 15 years, we were able to get all of Chris's knowledge, all of his understanding, his experience, his skill into a single simple tool, right? And so now, and this is what we call this Munchbrain AI. It's super exciting, but now we can do the entire SimplerTraffic method. Anybody can do this in any niche for any offer and see them grow as if Chris Munch himself was doing the work for you. Isn't that crazy? And then what used to take us hours, right, by an expert, and that hole that I was talking about, that we couldn't teach people, right? They were still operating at 70, 80 to 80% of the actual power of the method because Chris just couldn't teach them what he knew. It was too difficult. But now finally we could do the entire thing as if Chris would do it himself in just 7 minutes, right? Isn't that nuts? So who wants to see an example of this? Give me a quick one in the chat. We don't have too much time. I know we're kind of over the hour. This is a lot of information I'm trying to get over to you guys because of the opportunity here and why this is going to change so much for a lot of people. You with me? It's revolutionary in terms of traffic. So give me a one in the chat. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to upload the videos already here. Perfect. So I'm just going to play this for you. I'm going to put it on. Oh, no. Here we go. I'm going to put it on 2x speed. Okay. So just check this out. And we'll follow along and I'll talk you through it. So project name, project template, informative article. Now we're actually doing this note about, can you see this on the screen? What does that say? Mandatory health insurance, right? It's a damn difficult niche and a topic to write about, let alone write about properly, right? I mean, this is hard. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of technicality involved and all that kind of stuff, right? You have to know what to write about properly, but we wanted to pick the hardest thing to write about because if you can do the hardest thing, everything else is easy. So let me show you. The AI is thinking, and this we're pulling in from all the sources to pull all the information from because AI needs to pull from something, right? So you can see we've got the government websites here. We've got education about health insurance. We've got, some of the biggest sources we can pull from about health insurance. You can see we've selected these sources. Yep, we're updating them. So it knows where to pull from to get the right information. And imagine having to do this manually, right? Which is what people had to do before and how Chris developed this method. So now we've gone generate outline to pull all the pertinent information from all these sources and begin writing it down, right? And begin, putting it all down so that we don't miss anything because you've got a huge amount of red tape and stuff like that. So you need to make sure you're getting the right information out there. But look at this. It's drawing up the outline as we speak, right? It's getting all this written up, boom, 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 so that we don't miss anything. And then if I fast forward, like guys, I can't tell you how crazily powerful this is. If you ask any writer, and Chris is probably the best writer in this method, on the planet, right? But this is damn difficult to do. Look at this, pulling out all the pertinent and important information. And once we've done that, we go to generate article, as you can see here. And now the AI is thinking, it's thinking, and bang, job done, right? Look at this, guys. Read this. I'm going to pause it for a second. I want you to understand the power of this, yeah? Because what we're doing is writing a post, an article that's never been written before. The topic has never been covered before. And we're writing it in a way, right, that no one is going to be able to match because it's like Chris is doing with his 15 years of experience to make sure you've got all the information in there. The keywords are optimized. The SEO optimization is in there. There's so much to think about, right? Which is why the method got the results that it got before this breakthrough. But look at this now. It's like Chris is writing this for you. And look at the way it reads. Have a quick read of that. And you'll see everything is in there. It's beautiful. And this is just one topic. Imagine being able to do this over and over and over again and how much work it would have required in the past, right? Just saved 2 minutes. Thank you very much. All right. And that's it. Literally. Like, guys, let me know what you think about that. Isn't that incredible? It's going to go back to the presentation super quick. But yeah, let me know in the chat. What do you think? What do you think of that? Isn't that nuts? Isn't that crazy? Right? And actually, I'll show you one more thing. There's actually a 9-figure company here, as an example, who is already using Munchbrain AI to write their content. This article, look at the screen. So 9-figure business, all these beautiful images, the formatting is all done through the AI, as if Chris was writing this himself, right? So it has to be written in a way that people will consume the information properly, right? Look, it's things that are highlighted, the imagery and the formatting, all done by AI. Way better than a human could have done, way better than any expert could do, right? Because it's Chris writing it. Isn't that nuts? Give me a 5 in the chat, guys, if you think this is crazy, right? This is the revolution we're talking about. So it's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. So, all right, awesome. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the presentation. Sorry, I just wanted to show you that super quick. And so that's it. You just continually do more and more posts using Munchbrain AI, right? In 7 minutes for the guaranteed traffic topics, which you've already done in the planning. And then you just keep blasting these out and getting traffic from Google. And the more posts you do, the more traffic you're going to get from Google, okay? And the more sales you're eventually going to make. So then finally, once you've got your website, okay? Once you've got these posts going out onto your website, drawing traffic in from Google, it's time to super blast that even further and get even more traffic from Google. And that's where P number 3 comes in, right? Which is to promote. So the question becomes, how do you win trust from Google, right? Because to get traffic from Google and really sort of, to make it impactful and take it to another level, you need to have trust from Google. So how do you win trust from Google? Any ideas? Put it in the chat, because if you master this, then it's game over, right? So if you want to put that in the chat for me, how do you win trust from Google? There must be some experts in the chat here, right? Even if there's not, that's totally cool. You can take a guess. Okay, so a few people. Okay, you've got it. Yeah, a few people have already nailed it. Steve in particular, because you win Google's trust when trusted brands are promoting your boring posts. So you've got all these posts, bam, 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 answering very specific things, bang, bang, bam, 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 based on your plan, right? Where you've got all the holes and you're plugging these holes and people are going in and they're finding what they're looking for. But then to blow it all up, right, you get Google's trust by publishing on the biggest websites in the world. So Google trusts these big websites already, okay? And then they send you even more traffic, right? And they send more traffic to your website, more people seeing your posts, more traffic, more sales. And it's a lot of work, but we perfected this process over the years and automated it so it's done in just 5 minutes. And so this is just an idea of, if you really want to blow your posts up, this is what you need to do. So you should be creating, for example, every type of conceivable content. So news articles are created talking about your boring posts on hundreds of the biggest news websites on the planet, right? CNN, Fox News, ABC, as an example. Here's an example from a drone company, but this could be about your boring post, right? There's a blog post on Real Blogs referring back to your boring post, right? With imagery and everything. Look at the beautiful content. You've got videos, which you should be creating and posting on YouTube and on Vimeo, linking back to and driving traffic and more power to your boring posts, right? You can do audio ads, right? Because Google loves the variety of content. If you can do content in every conceivable format, then you're going to have an even bigger boost, because Google thinks, holy shit, these guys are, they're serious, right? And if you're on big sites, then it trusts you more. So, podcast directory sending you traffic, including, by the way, look at this beautiful piece of content on Amazon Music, right? Slideshows, PDFs. So creating slideshows is what you should be doing. And driving more traffic that way to your boring posts, talking about them. Infographics. Imagine creating an infographic about your boring post and then posting to sites like Flickr. Are you telling me Google's not going to trust you more? If you post on a site with 61 million visitors, right? Crazy powerful. 10 million visitors on ImageBox, Image Shack, on it goes. And then the content gets posted on social media like Facebook and Twitter. And listen, guys, you just, you have visibility then. If you do this correctly on every conceivable or in every conceivable way, because you're in searches, you're on Google News, YouTube, LinkedIn, Podbean, and more, right? So here's the deal. What if we could even take care of that for you for free? Give me a 5 in the chat if you'd be interested in knowing how we do that. What if we could even drive more traffic, do everything that I've just showed you, right? Do all that content to super boost your boring post even more, super boost your website even more, and get you trusted on hundreds of the world's biggest websites. Well, if you stick around, I'm going to show you exactly how we do that for free as well. And ultimately, by getting your posts on hundreds of the biggest, most trusted sites in just 5 minutes, right? So a quick overview, guys, right? Just to make sure we're all on the same page, and just keep, if you could, keep the ones coming in to make sure we're flowing with this and you're understanding this. So number one, you plan. You discover the 80 to 99% of traffic opportunities your competitors didn't even know existed, right? and you're looking at all the holds out there, all the opportunities with zero competition, right, that you could be writing about. Then it becomes about the post. So then you start using the MunchBrain AI in just 7 minutes flat. You're smashing out this boring buyer content, which shoppers are needing and shoppers are, desperately searching for, because it plugs all the holes based on the plan. So we know people are searching for it, and now they can find it, right? And they consume that content and they buy whatever you're looking for. So just to be clear, step 1 and step 2, those 2 P's alone, you could repeat that process and drive tons of traffic. But then we take things even further, right? Because in number 3, you can then super promote your boring content by quickly publishing your post on some of the biggest websites on the planet, so that 1 and 2, like literally, boom, they take off. And then you repeat this process over and over and over again to lead into the 4th P, which is profit. So let's talk about profit real quick, right? Because give me a 1 in the chat if you're following along. This is very important because this is for you, and I want to make sure that you understand how this is working. So we've done the planning. We found all the zero competition topics that we could be covering that people are searching for. We then post about those topics, answering those queries. People click on that, they come through, they buy, whatever you're pushing, okay? Or you can send that traffic wherever you like. And then you super boost that post by promoting it all over the internet. And finally, then you profit, right? By whatever you're pushing them through. You could be doing affiliate offers, you could be selling your own business, you could do this for a local business, it doesn't make a difference. You could do this for an e-commerce store, which you can blow up like we showed you earlier. And then you repeat the process again, you plan more. And then you pick your niche and you plan, you pick your niche and you plan, right? And then you keep blowing up every niche that you want to build your cash flow assets. Now, the interesting thing is, this is about to get even more powerful because there's 9 ways you could profit with this, but I'm going to focus on 1 and 3, because if you're a complete beginner, because here's the thing, if you already have a business, it's obvious. You can just use this system and promote wherever you want, right? You can just send traffic to it. Just do the buyer posts going directly to your website and you're good to go, right? And you can push that, no problems at all. But if you're a complete beginner and starting from scratch, we're going to talk about getting paid commissions for promoting products and selling advertising space for autopilot profits as well. So let's talk about that, because here's another site. We've got tons and tons of these cash flow assets, as I said, right? And so here's another example, right? And this one in particular, sorry, just give me 1 second. Just want to make sure my screen is good. I'm seeing something weird come up. Okay, yeah, I think we're good. So here's an example of earnings from another cash flow asset. Now, this one generated $78,000 in 2022. But guess what? To get that $78,000, we were selling an affiliate product, right? So we were an affiliate. But the best part of this, we only did 3 boring buyer posts every single day. And they used to take us about 4 hours each, which is, and again, you needed to, even then, nobody could really replicate that like the way Chris could. So there was, 20% missing. And now you can do it 100% the way Chris does it in less than 30 minutes per day, because they take 7 minutes to do each, right? Isn't that powerful? Now it gets better, because if your cash flow asset is driving traffic, okay, and you're selling and you're making revenue, right? And you're bringing that in, guess what happens? You can then start selling advertising on your website, right? On your cash flow asset. And people will happily pay for that because you're getting a lot of traffic coming through. So the whole thing comes together really, really well. This is just one cash flow asset and 6 figures working just 1 hour per month, right? And so another example real quick, another cash flow asset. This one makes $200 roughly on average a day. And in some cases from just 36 visitors. In this screenshot, 36 visitors from just yesterday, right? And that's $5.72 a click. Isn't that crazy? So that's $5.72 per visitor. So you don't need much traffic at all. And then you can scale it. And Adam here, 6 figures in 11 months, he only had 3,000 people come through, right? In the whole year, by the way. So just to put that into perspective, that's less than 10 visitors a day to generate 6 figures a year. So you don't need a lot of traffic when it's the right kind of traffic. And this is why most people don't talk about Google, because it's been too difficult to do in the past. So this is the right kind of traffic. And if you tap into that, then you don't need much traffic at all, right? And here's an example, for example, when you've got 5 of these cash flow assets set up, all driving traffic, they're not all going to drive tons of traffic, by the way, right? Some of them are not going to be as good. So you're going to have weak ones. For example, number 4 here is $19 per day. But on average, with 5 sites, 5 cash flow assets, you're looking at $300 in daily profit, 9,000 a month and 6 figures a year, right? And again, some are not going to be doing as well as others. Like number 3 here, if you look at this one's doing really, really well. So what we'd recommend you do is you go all in on the one doing really, really well, or a couple that are doing really, really well. And then, you can start focusing and doing more posts on those. And that's the idea. You launch your cash flow assets, the ones that do really well, you hone in on, then you might want to launch a couple more later, right? So I'll talk more about that in a second. So the fact is, you can see on the screen here, here's another couple of or examples of our cash flow assets and sites that we've got. These are all generating 6 to 7 figures, by the way, in traffic, but they all make slightly different amounts of profit. We keep them all because it takes so little time to run them, and they just keep providing cash, right? I mean, we could flip them and stuff, and I'll talk about that. But the idea is, you can see the steadiness of that traffic over time, because we're just doing boring post after boring post after boring post, and that's all you do, right? So it's good to go. And just to give you an idea, then, a lot of people don't realize, but here's another possibility, and this one is quite mind-blowing with the 4th P of profit, because when your simpler sites are making money, there are literally thousands of people with significant capital who will want to buy them from you. Even if you, so if you ever wanted to let them go, usually the rule of thumb is 3x what they make in profit per year. So if you're making let's say $19 a day, that's 6,000 a year in profit. Times 3, it's worth $20,000. So like I said before, there's some cash flow assets like number 3, which you go all in on. Okay, you might not want to flip that one right away, because you can just grow that even more, because it's doing well. That's your winner. You do more and more boring posts. You focus in on that, and then the rest of them you could probably flip, right, and then move on, and then create more cash flow assets. And so you can see it's really, really super exciting. I mean, some people might want to stick to 2, 3, and 5 because these are doing well, right, and just keep growing those, and then flip number 1 and flip number 4. Right, so if number 1, $49, you'd get about a cool 50 grand for that, and number 4, $19,000, $20,000. So let me give you an example of this, right? Because I'm not pulling these numbers out of nothing. There's sites like Empire Flippers and Flipper.com, I think, where you list your website and people are hungry to buy these. For example, this one, making $400 per month in profit, sold for $15,000. It's not bad, right? This one, and as I showed you the example earlier, I mean, you've got $400 per month in profit. You've seen the profit of some of these in a month. So if that one's worth $15,000, you can only imagine, right? Okay, what about this one? So this one, slightly more, $30,000 a month in profit, and it sold for 1 million, right? Or for sale for 1 million. So it sell for roughly that. That's 40x the monthly multiple. Here's one around the middle. Okay, so this one makes just shy of $3,000 per month, just under, right? That's about $100 per day, by the way, and sells for 6 figures. You with me? So that's the beautiful part of this. The ones that are slightly lower, you could quite easily flip those and keep pushing the bigger ones, but or you can flip all of them and just create more cash flow assets. Completely up to you. Each to your own. Different people want to run this in different ways. So how to build your 100K digital cash flow asset? So you can either keep growing it or flip it. Number 1, you do the planning. You then you map out all the zero competition topics no one is covering. You then post on these topics, doing just 7 minutes of using as if Chris is writing it for you, right? And then you promote and you create even more traffic by promoting on the biggest websites on the planet. And finally, you profit by pointing the traffic Google sends you to any offer, business, or website in any niche. Literally, traffic is a currency. If you can generate more traffic online, quality traffic, buyer traffic, then you're king, right? Because you can send that anywhere. And the power you have to transform any business. And imagine a local business, if you had that traffic coming through. Imagine an e-commerce business, that you start up. Imagine starting up a new niche anywhere. You follow these 3 and you profit, you're good to go, right? And so really quickly then, finally, after 5 years of simplifying, what used to take us, a few days even to do the planning itself, to find these zero competition traffic opportunities, we can now do in just a few hours. You then post in 7 minutes and you promote and get talked about all over the internet. It's that simple, right? So I just want to make sure that you guys are happy, right? That I honored my commitment, because I did say I'd show you something groundbreaking, right? But also how to drive millions of visitors and millions of sales in any niche, for any business, with the best kind of traffic that no one else has been able to get up until now. because it's been too difficult to teach. So give me a 5 in the chat if you think I've honored my commitment. I want to make sure that I'm serving you guys as best as possible. Yeah, and we're all good. Beautiful. Lots of 5s coming in. Thank you very much, guys. That means a hell of a lot to me, because we're here for you guys, you know? So good stuff. Really, really, really great. So we're all aligned and on the same page. So what we achieved today, the 3 keys of wealth and freedom. So number 1, avoid competition. Number 2, grow assets. And number 3, be boring. We identified Google as the best source of traffic, which is free, targeted, scalable, plentiful for everything. And finally, the 3 Ps of getting free Google traffic, right? Which is plan, post, promote, and then you profit. So hopefully today we've experienced a paradigm shift together, but there will still be obstacles. So I want to be super clear on this, right? Number 1, if you don't find the right niche, then you're going to struggle, quite frankly, right? And you won't grow anywhere near as quickly, if at all. You need to avoid competition. So you need to be able to judge competition to ensure you get good results. And also you can identify the best opportunities. You need to find the right topics. Okay. This is why the planning section used to take a couple of days to do. Now you can do it in just a couple of hours, but that's very important, because if you pick the right topics to do boring posts about, then you'll ensure you get traffic sooner, and you get even more traffic faster. Yeah. Number 4 is promotion. So then to really grow with this, you need to have a way to get your website and your posts trusted by Google, win Google's trust, and win Google's traffic even more, right? And number 5, then guidance and accountability. Your odds of success are obviously vastly improved when you don't have to figure everything out yourself. So you've got some support there, and someone is guiding you. Okay, so this is brand new. Okay, never been done before, but we're going to give you the software, the training, the coaching, the tools. So where do we start? We're going to start with the SimplerTraffic 100K boring challenge. Okay, so this is the 90-day challenge. Guys, give me a 1 in the chat if you understand the power of being taken through something like this day after day, right? For 90 days. It's like a boot camp. It's incredible, right? Everyone's going to be together. It's going to be beautiful. And you're going to get all the knowledge you need to set up 6 to 7 figure revenue streams. You can get all your questions answered, and you can work as we go, right? Have you ever been in a fitness class or in a gym where you've got a group of people doing the same thing together? It's a hell of a lot easier, right? And then you don't miss out. So that's exactly what we're offering. And yeah, so you've got that. It's worth $5,000. And you can probably see that that's fair, right? 90 days worth of work. Sometimes coaching nowadays, people charge 10 to 20K or whatever it might be. And they don't even do it daily, right? Okay, so this is a step-by-step process. What about the planning? So we're going to give you the Simpler Niche Research Suite. So you can generate all these beautiful 0 to low competition topics and plan those out in any niche. So you find your niche and you plan, okay? And then you plan on what to post. Then you use the AI. It's just beautiful, right? And you can pick any niche that you want. And there's so many hidden gold mines out there that nobody knows about, okay? So you'd probably pay someone as an expert to do that, probably about $500. So it's about fair. Number 2, so this is posting. So this is WordForm AI, the Munch edition. And this is literally Chris's entire methodology, all his playbooks, all his research, all the blood, sweat, and tears of the last 15 years, right? I mean, that's unbelievable. So you can already see that it's practically priceless, right? In terms of what that's actually worth. And, even if it was $1,000 for each year, you can see it's definitely, the value is there. And you can generate your boring buyer content and post in 7 minutes flat, even as a complete beginner. This is the equivalent of having Chris doing this for you. It's completely unheard of and unprecedented, what you're getting here today. And like we mentioned before, people pay Chris a lot of money for consulting. There's just some people paying for his time, okay, at $12,000. So, you guys going to get the entire thing, him in AI form, right? I still can't get my head around it. It's nuts. Anyway, that's thrown in. What about the promotion? Now, we use our advanced tech and methods to get your posts seen in hundreds of places all over the internet. Like I said, to super boost your posts and also your websites. It's worth $3,000. Now, I think that's fair, right? $3,000 is what it would cost you just to get the distribution to all of these sites in all of these formats, let alone the creation of videos and the writing and the creation of these podcasts and the images and the design and the, so all of that's done. The copy, everything's included, right? So I think and then, like I said, the distribution to these sites alone is worth $3,000 all over the internet, right? Like I showed you, so that you can win Google's trust when trusted brands are promoting your boring posts in every conceivable format all over the internet, infographics, slide shares, you name it, and post it as well. And normally people pay $900, $1,000 every day for this, right? Every day we've got people coming in buying this from us because we sell this to normal businesses as well. As I said, we're an 8-figure SaaS platform, right? If they qualify as well. So I think it's fair to say $3,000 there. Okay, so what's next? The SimplerTraffic Mastermind. People typically pay $1,000 to $5,000 to be part of a group like this a year, just to keep their access. But we're going to throw this in for free, so you've got access to other people doing this as well. If you need help, support desk access 24/7. Any questions, any issues, any technical problems, they'll be there to help you as well. So what's the investment? So look, all right, this is really, really important to put out there. But we spend over $7 million every year to ensure we stay at the cutting edge of these traffic methods and can effectively share them with our boring community, right? So we invest heavily on research to be ahead of the curve, and the sum total of 15 years knowledge driving over 100 million visitors now online. So we know what we're doing with the method, as you know, but now we've wrapped that technology and Chris's expertise as the CEO of this business into the AI. So you can literally go into any business in any niche in just 7 minutes and start posting, right? It's a complete traffic in a box solution. And you can add this to an existing business as well. And as I said, thousands of individual businesses spend millions of dollars per year to get exactly this from us, right? Because that's what they pay us. And a quick note, you're looking at $12,000 to $120,000 is what people pay, even small businesses, a year, that's a year, through Google Ads, to literally get what you're going to be able to get, but for free, right? So that's $12,000 to $120,000. I mean, at the end of the day, that would still be a decent amount. If we were to charge that, it'd be an incredible amount. You know why? Because the fact is, businesses pay us between $50,000 and $100,000 a year, so that we can do this for them, right? And so our hope is, we can work with you, and if you're successful, then we'll be successful, because ultimately, and this is why we're dropping the price down so heavily, so that people like you will become the next small to medium-sized businesses, right? If you don't, then you might even talk about us, because you might be successful and be growing your traffic, right? Be planning, posting, and promoting, growing your cash flow assets, maybe flipping some, but growing some, and then tell someone else, right? And then ultimately, we all benefit from that. And so it's really, really important, just like Denker and Ed have as well. And they start from scratch, and they went on to become millionaires, and now they white label us. So the fact is, everyone benefits, because we love to work with beginners, because you guys help us stress test the platform to make sure it's as beginner friendly as it can possibly be, which means the bigger businesses that spend 50 and 100K with us a year, can do things faster, and we can bring more of those on. Right. And then you guys learn from that too, because that investment and everything else means we can keep putting in money, $7 million or more a year, to be at the forefront of that research. So we all benefit together, right? Which is why we can drop the price a little bit, to let in people like you guys, because we want to help the little guy like you to get up, to build your business, and eventually we all grow together, right? Which is a beautiful thing. So anyway, as I said, businesses are spending 50 to 100K with us a year, but we're obviously not going to charge you that. We want to get you guys involved. We want to grow with you. We're not even going to charge you $5,000 here today, because today you can get everything that I've mentioned in its entirety for just one single payment of $2,497. However, we're actually going to push that even further. So just wait 1 second, right, before you have a bit of a shock if you think that's too high, or you want to jump off the webinar, because we're going to push this even further. Because what we're going to do today is take off a $1,500 we'll be taking $1,500 off as a discount off of the price, okay, for action takers today. Because I mean, look, we're very passionate about what we do. I've talked about that. I've talked about why we want to get as many of you involved as possible, and that's why we're able to drop the price, to make this as accessible as possible. So it's only one single payment of $997 here today, to get everything. I know it's a really solid price, right? There's absolutely no question about that. And I'm sure you'd agree in terms of, everything you're getting, everything that's included. It's let's just say Chris and I, and behind the scenes, we've argued about this price point quite a bit, right? We've debated it, in a heated fashion at the very, very least. So yeah, one payment of $997, $1,500 discount for action takers here today. We do have payment plans available on top of that. And again, it's all as part of our mission to make this as accessible as possible. So the link's on your screen. It's in your chat box as well. All right. And if this is for you, fantastic. If it's not for you, I totally understand as well, right? Equally. Because ultimately, look, I'm not here to make people jump in or to worry about, who invests or not, because ultimately, if the right people invest, we grow. So we need to get people in who are 100% committed to doing the 90-day challenge. And of course, committed to making this happen, right? So it's better to have someone who's 100% in, even if it's 1, 2, 3 people, doesn't make a difference, versus, 50 that are, 50% in, you know what I mean? So with that, really, my mission, my job here today is just to make, or to help you make the most qualified and informed decision that you can, and that I can help you with here today. That's my mission. That's what I'm here to do, right? And then from there, whichever way you decide to go, of course, the decision is yours. But I would have given you everything that you need in order to reach that decision. All right. And as I always say, if you are, if you're going to ask questions like, hey, should I do 80 days? Jay, can we do this in 20 days versus the 90 days? The answer is unequivocally no. Like, if you don't have a business right now, then even if you do have a business, right, ultimately you can add a beautiful stream of income here, using and leveraging the world's biggest and most powerful traffic source, right? Which has never been able, well, it's never been done before because no one's been able to do it. It's not been possible to do this. And so, like I said, the link's on your screen. It's completely your decision, whichever way you go. But I would recommend that if you're not willing to do the 90 days, then you probably should not invest, with all due respect, of course. Maybe it's not the right time for you, so you come back and you can look at doing this a little bit later. But if you've seen the power and you like what you see and you've got any questions at all, to sort of get you over the line, then absolutely, ask away. We've got the entire team here to help you with that. And if it's not for you for whatever reason, completely respect that as well. And again, you can judge for yourself and decide for yourself as we go through the end here. And we go through, there's a few bonuses I want to go into as well, but also a lovely Q&A to make sure that I answer as many questions as possible. So that's coming very, very soon. All right. So here's what you do next. So you click on that link. After payment, you'll be redirected to the confirmation page. You'll receive your login credentials via email, and you're going to be good to go. So we're going to be doing this paint by number, step by step together, take you through the entire thing, the plan, the posting, and of course the promoting, using MunchBrain AI. So it's nuts. And we're going to help you to do all of that stuff. So yes, we do have a 60-day money back guarantee. We're super confident, right, in what we do. We're doing this for 15 years. So if there's any issues with that, then of course we've got the guarantee there. But of course, what I would say is this: if you are, if you're looking at the 60-day money back guarantee, like having 1 foot out, I wouldn't put any fee in, right? Because you're not going to have the right mindset to do the 90 days. As all I'll say is, we've got it to a point where the only reason it's not going to work for people is because they just didn't do the work, right? So I would ask you guys, are you willing to do the 1 to 2 hours a day for 90 days or not? If you are, that's the only factor that you need to worry about. The rest is taken care of, because if you do that, you apply yourself, you'll be successful. There's no doubt, right? This has been working for 15 years without the breakthrough and made millionaires without the breakthrough, right? So imagine what we could do with the breakthrough. So to be part of that, we take a lot of pride in what we built, and we want to make sure people are committed, because we know it will work. It's like a gym, right? You don't blame a gym if you for not losing weight, if you don't visit the gym, right? If you go to the gym and you eat less, you will lose weight and you'll hit your goal. That's it. It's like this model. It's the same thing. But if no one is willing to eat less and they're going to be lazy and not hit the gym, then you can't say, hey, the gym doesn't work, right? So that's kind of how we built this. So, okay, for the first few people then, you're going to get exclusive access to 5 new fast action bonuses that are worth almost $30,000 alone. Okay. And they're only going to be available to people who jump in on this training during the limited window. So I'll jump into these real quick. And like I said, the link is on your screen. It's also in your chat box now. All right. So check that out. And any questions that you've got, please put them in the chat box, guys. I'm here to support you. I'm here to help you to make the best, most qualified and informed decision you can. So I'm here to back you with that, right? So anyway, you can see the exact steps our most successful students took to generate 6 figures online. So you're going to get the SimplerTraffic case studies thrown in. These are amazing, by the way. Don't let the humble cover for you, because it's people who have been successful with this method and hit 6 figures. So you want to jump in and see what they've done, right? Okay, bonus number 2 is a one-on-one coaching call. So we're going to offer our SimplerTraffic experts to speak with you, okay, have a really deep chat with you, answer any of your questions, give you the peace of mind so you can get a custom tailored plan for your business and know exactly how to get maximum results. So we cannot offer this to too many people because we don't have enough experts, right? These guys actually speak to businesses who pay us, 50 to 100 grand a year. So we need to be very, very careful that we don't stretch our resource too much. So once the calendar is booked up for that, then unfortunately, it's going to be done. So I'd recommend, and I can see the calendar already getting booked up. So I'd recommend that you jump in on this ASAP if you're interested, of course, and if this tickles your fancy, right? And if you're not in, that's completely fine. But if this is something you like and you can see the power of, then you need to book this call in ASAP. And I wouldn't delay on that, right? If it's something you want anyway, there's no point in delaying, right? So, okay, anyway, so we've also got the VIP to SimplerTraffic Live 2024. So this is VIP access. You're going to get a secret VIP admission ticket to our live event where you can discover our advanced inner circle secrets. You can meet myself, Chris. We can sit, we can talk, we have dinners. It's really fun. The last time we did this was in Barcelona, just before the COVID. So we're very excited about this event, right? So yeah, you're going to get exclusive guest experts, case studies, bonus training. I mean, normally, for something like this, if the knowledge that we're going to share would normally charge, 10 to 15K is what we've done in the past. So, 5K is more than fair, right? In terms of value. So you get that thrown in, 31,619. What about profit? Well, if you don't have anything right now and you want to, if you want to accelerate your success, right, then we can actually give you what we call plug and play evergreen funnels. So what are these? Well, these are full entire funnels and offers, right, that you can literally choose the niche and plug into. And so it's got all the sales material, it's got all the videos, everything is built in. You just put in your affiliate link and you're good to go. And you can start doing your boring posts to promote it even more. So the man in the middle, happy days, right? You just keep promoting them with your boring posts. And again, after the 90 days and your cash flow assets set up, it's driving traffic to wherever you want to send it. But you've already got these offers ready and waiting for you. Okay, so you've got an option to do that. And like I said, all you do is plug in your affiliate link. You're good to go. The offers are ready to sell on the biggest affiliate marketplaces on the internet as well. All right, so you can get paid healthy commissions for that and build your email lists and all that good stuff. And you've got all the stats here as well. So, you can see your conversion rates and how many emails are going out, all that kind of stuff, right? So you can see where your sales are coming from and how big and powerful your boring posts are, right? If you want to sell your own offers, we've also got this very, very special bonus, okay? Because what we've done, check this out, this is crazy. And we're super excited because we paid a trusted 7-figure writer to actually build 3 unique information products from scratch, right? In 3 of the hottest evergreen niches, so they're powerful. So you can sell these products right now as if they're your own, right? You plug in, you play, the sales material is all in there. I'm talking videos, the selling is done, it's all there. You just literally plug in PayPal, Stripe, or whatever gateway you have for payment, and you drive your traffic. So you do your posts, you plug in your payment, and you're happy days. Everything else is done, right? Okay, and then we have bonus 5, I believe this is, or yes, bonus number 5. Right, so this one is particularly powerful. Yeah, and I say that because, it has to be one of my favorite bonuses simply because ultimately we're going to give you what we call our SimplerTraffic Accelerator. Yeah, this is our underground method to instantly time travel almost new SimplerTraffic sites into the future. I'll explain what that means in just a second, right? And you can fast forward your traffic, profit, results with new assets by 6 to 9 months. Meaning, boom, imagine being fast forwarding to 6 to 9 months from now and all the progress and everything that comes with that. Yeah. And you can make brand new digital cash flow assets instantly more valuable from day one. Right? Why? Well, simply because if you look at the screen, a lot of people, forget this, but of course we've been doing this for a long time. So we're used to this when we set websites up. We know that there's going to be a period that I think they call it the Google sandbox or something, but ultimately nothing's going to happen, right? Because Google doesn't know you, doesn't trust you, doesn't know your site from Adam, if you like, right? So the whole idea is you sort of get your site up and running, you start doing content, you start doing all the basic things that indicate to Google that you're a normal site, you're a trustworthy site, you've started up, because sites come and go all the time, right? But you're here to stay, sort of thing. So you win Google's basic trust, and it accelerates your progress after that. So then the traffic picks up and everything else just catches fire, if you like, especially when you're doing this with this method. Yeah. The point is, there's lots of faith required. And if you're a beginner and you've never done this before, okay, for those of you who have set up websites, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just part and parcel, yeah? But there's a hell of a lot of faith required if you've never done this before. And you might wonder, for the first few months, does this even work, right? Basically. So, and you'd be completely, it would be warranted for you to ask that question. Now, if you imagine a kid, yeah? If you imagine a kid, if you give a kid, or the kid wants to plant a seed, yeah, and watch it grow, lots of kids like to do that. Now, if the kid plants the seed and after 2 days, nothing happens, we're watering it, you're watering the plant, you're putting the nutrients in or whatever you have to do. Ultimately, if nothing happens, the kid loses a bit of faith, right? So you need a faith, and you might restore that faith, and say, hey, listen, just don't worry, keep watering and something will happen, because that if you water it, it's just a matter of the seed germinating. Like, you're certain of that. There's no question, because you've done it 100 times. You with me? But the kid's never seen it before. So this is exactly the same with this. So ultimately, you can skip this entire period, right, of germination, if you like. The seed's already sort of grown. It's been watered. It's been nourished and nurtured. And then, boom, you're already at the point where you can start picking up the traffic. You're out of the Google sandbox, and you avoid this entire thing. Why? Because we will give you a warmed up site, basically. So rather than you having to get a new site, warm it up, go through that 6 to 9 months potentially, bam, done. We're going to give you a warmed up site. It's already at this point, so you can start accelerating your growth, and you can start posting and getting traffic and getting results pretty much immediately, which is super awesome, right? So this bonus in particular, I would say, is invaluable. And again, you can get these bonuses if you jump in right now. Or you're one of the first few that jump in early, or until the webinar shuts down. So it will be available. So if you're watching this, it should still be fine. All right. This is a very, very powerful bonus. It would mean literally cutting down your work and time down, by 6 to 9 months, which is just massive. So, okay. So here's everything you're getting. The total value is $53,114. The link is on your screen, and it's also in your chat. So people have literally, we call it 100K challenge, because people have 5 to 10x their e-commerce stores from scratch by following the 90 days. People have hit 6 figures in 90 days, right, for their year, like Justin, like Adam, like Brent. There's all these guys. Julian, $95,000 a month is what he hit by month 3. Look, month 1, look at this. Guys, those numbers don't lie, right? Look at the screen. Like, it's just, month 1, 1,400 visitors. Month 3, right? 90 days, 11,000 visitors. So what does 11,000 visitors even mean? Well, it means $95,000 a month. Imagine. It's all in front of you, right? We've got people who have, like, who do we have? Claude and Vicky. So Armani's used to be one of our account managers. Like I said, businesses went from, look at this, they're doubling their traffic in just a year, doubling your traffic. Isn't that nuts? And this is a t-shirt printing business, right? So steadily really growing. And this is all before the breakthrough as well, right? Cam, $1,500 in sales in 4 days. So we've seen people who are selling this to businesses and getting paid $10,000 per month to do it for others. Imagine. And really, if you think what a business would, what value it would attribute to what you're doing, it's almost like having Chris write the posts for them himself, except you can do it in 7 minutes. The value of that is insane, because Chris knows how to get traffic, how to optimize for SEO, how to post in the right places. The planning is done for you, so you know what to post about in the first place, And as we said earlier, the keyword searches and how much search volume and all that is all factored into the planning. That's what the AI does. It finds keywords, it finds topics that people think have no search volume, so they don't bother with it. But guess what? They do have search volume, right? They do. But Google and a lot of these keyword tools just lie, which is why Chris doesn't use keyword tools. He built his entire own strategy based on people telling him, hey, this doesn't have any search volume. And then boom, 100 million visitors later, people are finally thinking, holy shit, okay, so how does that work? And Chris is like, you know, I mean, it's too late now, but this is what I mean. 15 years we've been doing this, right? This method. And people still ask stupid questions like, what about the search volume? Well, if it didn't have search volume, how are we getting results like this, right? How are we getting results where people are generating $95,000 a month, right? I mean, it just goes without saying, but there you go. I mean, Ed here does the same thing in niches, using keywords and topics and targeting those that apparently have no search volume, right? And he's happily cracking on with this, while his competitors don't know what the hell they're doing, right? And this is why we have zero competition for a lot of this stuff, because it's underground. Most people just overlook it. I mean, I'm talking 137,000 in free traffic per month is what Ed was generating and has been recently without the breakthrough, right? Just nuts. And that's me and Ed, by the way, in New York City. I was speaking at a SaaS conference out there. Okay, so Denka, he's another millionaire before the breakthrough, right? Again, taking advantage of the ignorance out there and people just not understanding how Google actually works, and, you know, taking Google's answer as gospel when Google says there's no search volume. Obviously, Google's going to say that because Google doesn't want you to spam, you know, and take full advantage of that traffic that's just there, right? But if you tap into it the right way, it's game over. I mean, $250,000 a month is what he's been generating, yeah? And he's helped clients add 55 million in sales, which is nuts. We've got people selling to business owners. We've got coaches using this, consultants boosting their sales, right? Here's a coach, Baz Porter. He's a lifestyle coach, and you can see here in motivational speaking contracts before the breakthrough, Disney, Uber, and Apple hired him based on the work he was doing, right? Because he was all over the internet. He was using the plan, post, and promote, and he was found. Just like Ed, plan, post, and promote. He profited. $87,000 is what he sold worth of windows, right? Brandon, we've got people like Jorgan, who was told that the manufacturing partner in Installer cannot keep up with the current demand. So they said, just slow down, right? So people all over the world, all doing really cool stuff. So yeah, there you have it. So it's easy to start up with, super simple to succeed with. Yeah, extremely profitable, extremely lifestyle friendly, and extremely scalable. Excellent for beginners, excellent and perfect for the advanced. Works for any offer, any business, any niche. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you're good to go. And it works in all of these. So affiliate marketing, e-commerce stores, local business, marketing agencies, consultants, coaches, experts, charities, and even media buyers. So everyone should be doing this. I'm a bit biased, obviously. Excuse me, but everyone should be doing this on some level, right? If they have or want a profitable online business, because you're tapping into the biggest and best source of online traffic, bar none, right? Undisputed. Okay, so just a few questions. I'm going to run through a Q&A here real quick, just to make sure you guys are good. I'm going to give you a quick second to put your questions in the chat box as well. Okay, so put your questions in the chat box. If you're in, by the way, give me a massive I'm in. I can see the likes of Oluwole, Steve, who I mentioned earlier, Brian, congratulations to you, Barbara. We've had JD as well, I think it is. Congratulations to you. So lots of people jumping in. All right, great to see. I'm excited as well. Reggie, absolutely, I'm excited as well. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so guys, if you've got any final questions, put them in the chat. If you're in, give me an I'm in so I can give you a massive shout out. I'd be more than happy to do that. So for those of you who have jumped in, like, you know, it's about to get real. And we're very, very excited about that, okay? So what's required of you? Like I said, just 90 days. Give us 90 days. Really pay attention to this. That's all we need. Give us 90 days, 2 hours per day, Monday to Friday with the weekends off if you want that. And you must watch all the training. If you take consistent daily action, that 1 to 2 hours every single day, you can even journal your progress in the mastermind group. Give me a 1 in the chat if you think you could do 90 days, 1 to 2 hours a day for 90 days. If we got your results. Like zero BS. You've obviously got the 60-day money back guarantee there if you want it. That's how confident we are of what we do. But could you do 90 days, 1 to 2 hours per day if you knew you'd be successful by the end of it? Obviously, if you don't do the 90 days, you don't do the 1 to 2 hours, you're not going to make any progress, right? So that goes without saying. We can't just make you successful just like that. It doesn't work that way. But would you be able to commit to 90 days and doing 1 to 2 hours every single day. Just give me a 1 in the chat if you would. And you're still, thinking about jumping in here. And you haven't done already, because I'm here to make sure you make the best and most informed decision and qualified decision you can. And that's why, we tell certain people not to buy. Like, there's people who ask questions, and we can tell they don't want to do the work, right? And we tell them that you shouldn't invest. It's like Mary's been asking a certain question earlier today. So Mary, with all due respect, like we said in the chat as well, you probably shouldn't jump in, right? Because it's not going to be for you. You're just not ready, and that's completely fine, right? Again, Mary, I think the world of you. I think you're going to be doing great and you're going to be fine. But this opportunity is not going to be for you, because you probably don't have the time and the effort to put in that 1 to 2 hours per day, right? For 90 days. Not everybody has, and that's fine. Obviously, I'm a little bemused, because people on one hand say they're willing to do anything to be successful, and then on the other hand, then they're asking questions like, well, do I have to do 2 hours a day? It's like, well, what the hell's going on? You either want it or you don't. And if we can guarantee success, pretty much, if you did the work, based on all the people that have kicked ass with this, made millions with this, right? Driven 10K per month, 40K per month. You've seen all the results from all the people before the breakthrough. You can only imagine what you can do after. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'd be like, hey, hell, I'll work 3, 5 hours, 10 hours a day, whatever it takes, which is what Chris and I had to do to build our business. Now, I'm not saying you have to commit to that. Yeah, it's all good. I get it. But 2 hours a day at least. I mean, come on, right? If you're willing to do that, then you will do. And then there's people who ask, well, can I do more than 2 hours a day? And absolutely, you can. But less, I would not recommend that you jump in, right? 1 to 2 hours is absolute minimum. You can be successful with that, right? But of course, you can do more. There's people asking. And that's the question I love, because that means, look, just imagine in 90 days of doing 2 hours a day, you can have your weekends to yourself. You can have a cash flow asset generating 6 figures for your year. And then you can go on to create another one and another one and another one, right? But imagine this. If you can do that in two hours a day, and for those of you who are willing to push this, right, then why not? Of course, imagine what you can do in 4 hours a day. That's double the effort, double the time, but you've got leverage, right? It's almost like, hey, look, of course, if you've got tons of oranges and you're trying to sell orange juice, and you've got a machine to squeeze, that machine is the leverage. Just like our business model is the leverage. Our AI is the leverage, right? That breakthrough. So the more you do, the more output you're going to have. So the more oranges you put into the machine, the more orange juice you're going to create, and the more you'll sell. So you could close your, let's say you had a stall, right? In a marketplace. Now you could close your stall after 2 hours. Of course you could, but the leverage doesn't stop. You could literally just load it up with more oranges if you wanted to, right? And sell all the way through to the afternoon. So it's up to you. Obviously, if you keep your stall open for 5 hours versus 2 hours, you're going to make a hell of a lot more orange juice and sell a hell of a lot more orange juice. Now, some people don't want to do that. They might go, well, you know what? Screw it. I'm happy with 2 hours. I want to go home and watch TV. Sure, okay. But if you don't open your stall up and put in at least 1 to 2 hours, you're not going to sell any orange juice. In other words, you're not going to make any money with this model, right? So that should be pretty obvious. How long does it take to see results? Not very long at all. For example, you get results pretty much within days of doing and completing your simpler traffic niche plan. So in the 90-day challenge in particular, you're going to move faster because we're going to be doing this together. So for example, you set up your plan, right? 0 competition traffic opportunities. That takes just a couple of hours to do. You then do your post, which takes 7 minutes, and then you promote, which takes 5 minutes. The actual website creation at the beginning is a 5-minute filling in a form job. Literally, you'll see that yourself with your own eyes, right? But this whole process here in the beginning, to see traction, to see, you can show people your website. You can be like, hey, this is my website. Look at my posts. Look at what's going on. You can be proud of it. You can show your family, and it's just going to keep populating, right? It's a really nice feeling when you do that, especially when it's making you money and it's driving you revenue, right? And driving traffic. So, that can happen within as little as, I would say, a couple of days. You can have that, right? Technically. So you'll see results already in that sense. In terms of traffic and money, well, some people take existing assets and boost them. But that's what the 90-day challenge is all about, right? You put aside everything else and you just work with us and you'll get to where you want to go a hell of a lot faster. So won't this get saturated or stop working? No, obviously not. Google is huge. But I'll go through the numbers with you. 8.5 billion searches take place on Google every single day. 8.5 billion. Does that sound like it's like slowing down? Nope. 15% of those Google searches are new searches. So today, 15% of searches, so it's 1.2 billion searches happened today, guys. That never, ever, ever happened before. Tomorrow, another 1.2 billion searches are going to happen, which have never happened before. Imagine having posts about all these different searches that people have never even made yet and be the first to even write about that topic. That's the kind of power we're talking about. And all of that will be in your training on how to exploit that and stuff even further later, right? It's crazy powerful what you guys are jumping in on here. So how much could you make with this? Well, we've had people make a few $100s per month to well over 6 figures per month, all the way through to the Denkers and Eds who have actually become millionaires using the method before the breakthrough. So as long as you keep doing your boring 7-minute posts, you'll keep scaling your results, right? Do you ever need to pay for traffic? Not really, but what I would say is if you're doing paid ads, right, then it's basic, like all due respect, but it's a little bit stupid to do. And I know none of you are, okay? So I say that playfully, but it is stupid to be doing paid ads without SimplerTraffic. It is, because all you're doing is creating more of a demand by doing paid traffic. And if you don't give people what they look for when they're searching online to do their research, because this is a fact, this should really, really resonate, okay? If you understand what I'm talking about here, because 81% of shoppers research their product online before purchasing. So that means it doesn't matter how many paid ads you throw in their face, they're not buying straight away. 81% are going to say, okay, thank you so much for your ad, but I need to do my own research now. And then they do their own research, and then once they're satisfied, they buy. But guess where that research and buying process takes place? Where do you think it takes place? Google, right? And how do you dominate Google? Exactly how I just showed you today. And now you can do it within 7 minutes flat per post to answer all these different research queries people are going to have. You see it coming together now, right? And also our planning process, make sure we get all those 0 competition topics and have them ready to post about. So when people do this research, 81% of people, bam, you're right there, right? And so paid ads without SimplerTraffic means it's harder to make profit, and you essentially are buying sales for your competition, because you can bet your bottom dollar that they've got Google covered, a lot of these businesses. So if you haven't, that traffic's going to go somewhere, isn't it, when they do the research, right? Because they're not going to buy from you straight away. So with paid ads and SimplerTraffic together, which makes complete sense, right? Because they're both powerhouses, of course. But this is the thing, SimplerTraffic will benefit from referrals. It doesn't matter what kind of channel you're using. You know, you need to cover Google off, and SimplerTraffic helps you to do that like nothing else. You capture 81% of buyers, increase brand awareness, build retargeting audiences, lower costs and boost conversions, and grow 5 to 10x by spending 0 money. Just like Julian did. How's a sweet $95,000 a month? Not bad, right? And extrapolate it across a year, I think that's easily a 7-figure store, right? Now you can flip that story, you can move on to build another one, right? So you can see the power here. Month 1, month 2, and by month 3, so in 90 days, which is exactly what we're doing, he had 11,000 visitors. That was worth that $95,000 a month, right? Okay, so do I even need to pay for the traffic, like I said, or do I even need to pay for traffic generally? So ultimately, yes, if you're doing paid traffic, then SimplerTraffic is a must. Simple as, right? You can use SimplerTraffic to sell anything. I've already made that super clear. Digital products, coaching, professional services, sell it to businesses. It really doesn't matter, right? As long as people are searching for it, you can sell it. Yes, you can use your own existing website, but the beautiful part is if you start posting, right, it's just, you can just, literally bring it back to life and start doing boring posts in 7 minutes to that website to bring more and more traffic. So if you're already in a niche and you already have a website, then, you got a head start. Okay, so this is everything you're getting here today. The SimplerTraffic 100K challenge is what you get first and foremost, is the 90 days, right? Step by step, paint by number, take you by the hand, and ensure that you've got everything you need to set up your cash flow assets. So in this 90 days, guys, we'll be doing the planning, right? We'll be laying that out. We'll be helping you to post and refine, and of course, promote as well. So the 3 Ps of traffic, and then the 4th P leading to, of course, profit, and then helping you set up your cash flow assets so that by the 90 days, you've got an asset that is set up to drive 6 figures per year. That's the aim, right? And you're going to be, it's going to be a beautiful atmosphere. Every time we've done this in the past for other programs, with the 90 days, it's always a great atmosphere, because you're, like I said, it's like being in a spin spin group, you know, cycling or some sort of group when you're training together in the gym. It's really, really good because you're doing it step by step. You're seeing your peers do it, and you can ask any questions and you grow together, right? And we put brick by brick by brick, and we can work through that. So that's included at $5,000. As I said before, more than justified, right? Because if you consider people charge 5 to 10K for coaching and take people through step by step and stuff like that, with the power of what we've got. So that's that. The simpler niche research suite at 495. So that's I'd argue that it's worth more than that, but there you go. Anyway, this is the biggest part because planning is everything. If you plan and you find the right niche and you start to implement the 3 Ps, you're going to be good to go, right? So that's very, very important. And so we'll help you with that. Then you get Chris, the beautiful brain of his. He'll never say this himself, but he's definitely a bona fide genius. And having that brain write your content for you, do your posts for you, 15 years of experience is just, and people pay quite a bit for his time in terms of consulting because he's very good at what he does. And so $15,000, if you were to sell it as a software, it's more than justified. So anyway, you get access to that today. So you can start knocking your post out. Done for you promotion. So then taking the cash flow assets you have and really sort of promoting them all across the internet. So we're getting traffic from YouTube videos and, because that will be created and posted for you, from slide shares, infographics, all this kind of stuff. Pulling all that beautiful traffic and taking your cash flow asset even further. So that's, and if you consider just the distribution alone to these sites, would be $3,000 easy, right? Without the content, without the research and all that good stuff that goes into this. So yeah, the SimplerTraffic Mastermind is included as well. So any questions you've got, your journaling, and you'll see there's a lot of buzz in that Facebook group. People post success stories in there. They post, people closing clients when they're selling SimplerTraffic to businesses, or others giving us updates about their e-commerce stores. Just like we showed with Julian, that was actually posted in that exact group as well. So you're going to be able to keep abreast of any developments going on with your peers. You'll get the support desk access as well, help desk access. Bit of a tongue twister. So our support team are going to be there to help you with anything you need, any questions. It's always good to have someone on hand, and you'll have that. You've seen how good Adriel's been in the chat here. He actually runs that team. So you'll be happy to know, they're very, very quick on the draw. And then we've got the SimplerTraffic case studies, the one-on-one coaching call, which, as I said, is very, very valuable. Can get sort of cool clarity on what you need to do. Ask any questions. We'll build a game plan that's based on your business and your circumstances and all that good stuff as well. You then get plug and play evergreen funnels in bonus number 4. This one's awesome because, we've got the traffic. Like, that's the biggest, like, give me a 1 if you understand, right? That most people can have a shiny, beautiful, brand spanking new e-commerce store, or, you can set up a local business, you can set up a website, or, just have affiliate offers that might be the best selling ever. But if you cannot drive traffic, you will fail, right? So people look at it in reverse. People start products or start businesses, and then they worry about traffic later. Hence why everybody gets pulled into paid traffic, which can work and it can be effective if you know what you're doing. We use paid traffic too, right? But it takes a hell of a long time to figure that stuff out. And it's up and down. And also, if your ad account gets banned, your business stops, right? Whereas with Google traffic, if you look at the likes of Amazon, Walmart, eBay, there's something to learn from these guys, right? They're doing something right. And where do they get most of their traffic from? Other than direct to their website, because their brands are very big, is of course from Google, right? It's just been too damn difficult to tap into it in the past. So you get access to that. And then the evergreen funnels, as I was alluding to, once the traffic is there, you're then going to have products that sell in some of the hottest niches already. So you can plug and play and you're good to go. You drop your affiliate link, happy days, right? And you turn on the traffic there. The entire funnel is included. So you've got the emails. As part of that, you get the opt-ins, the videos, all the selling, everything is included, right? So it's ready to go. Another bonus is a SimplerTraffic Accelerator. Now, this one to accelerate your progress, right, and your results by buying domains and websites that were already warmed up for you, so you can hit the ground running. And that's it. Then you get your 60-day money back guarantee. We've been doing this for a long time, super confident in what we do. So, if for any reason you want to sort of take us up or take that offer, you can. If it hasn't worked for you for whatever reason. But of course, we've put this, we sort of set this up so that literally the only excuse would be that you haven't done the work, right? That's the only factor that's unknown. And of course, we don't know you personally, so we don't know whether you're going to be able to put that 2 hours in a day for 90 days. But if you do, You've already seen the results of people doing this without the breakthrough. So you can only imagine, right? Okay, so guys, I've gone through everything you're getting. All right. So this is what you need to do is you click on that link, you choose which option you're going to go with, and after payment, you'll be redirected to the confirmation page and you'll receive your login credentials via email so you can get started straight away. So unfortunately, that's it for this session. So if you like what you've seen, you want to be part of the SimplerTraffic mission and join our 90-day challenge. I'm really looking forward to this because there's so many people that have jumped in on this and are ready and raring to start kicking ass with this. So thank you very much, guys, and goodbye.